You're joining me here tonight. It's a beautiful evening, and if you're a subscriber you'll see a slightly different style of video today. I want to talk about the history of this image, why I'm here tonight at this precise moment trying to capture this scene behind me. I hope you find it interesting and maybe see a little bit of the effort and the research that can go into some images that I capture. So I came here in winter, which is quite a few months ago now, and I was instantly drawn to the scene behind me, and I literally spent maybe 30 seconds walking around a little bit until I saw the composition that I wanted to capture. I didn't capture it back then, but I've came here tonight to capture it. So I really like the way the tree on the right overhangs the river. We've got a lovely S-bend in the river itself, and then off in the distance there's some interesting hills, trees and houses. So I think it's a really nice composition. But I knew back in winter it was not the time to capture it. The trees themselves look quite bare, they were stripped of their leaves, so spring came to mind that was the correct time to return. Autumn is also a potential time to return here, but spring is really nice at the moment. So I've came here 2 times in the last couple of weeks just to have a look, make sure the colour was nice, that all the trees were flourishing with their leaves and so on. And I've been observing the positions of the sun throughout the day. So I've came here tonight, it's probably golden hour at the moment, but I came before golden hour. The sun is over in this direction, so it'll be coming from the left when you actually see the image. And I came here so that there would be some light on the trees to the right hand side of the river, and the sun would still be high enough in the sky that I would get some light on the trees to the left of the river. So that's the reason I've came here at this precise time tonight. Now if I wait until the sun actually sets, I may get some nice colour in the sky, but the downside of that is that the river itself and some of the trees may have very little light on it, so I'll get some nice colour in the sky, but the ground area, the river area, won't look as nice as it did when I captured the image about 10 minutes ago. So it's a balance. What do you prefer, nice colour in the sky or nice light on the actual landscape itself? And I think in this case I'll prefer the images I've just captured about 10 minutes ago. In terms of technical settings, I'm focused at infinity, about 28mm, that's getting everything sharp. I've taken some faster shutter speed images, about a 1/60th of a second, which gets everything sharp. But I've also put on my 6-stop ND filter, giving me a 1-second exposure, and that creates some fantastic movement in the river, which will be at the base of my image, and that looks really, really nice. It's still a little bit windy at the moment. There was more wind earlier on, so the 1-second exposure will most likely show a bit of movement in the branches or potentially leaves in the trees. But that combined with the motion in the river from the 1-second exposure, I think will work really, really nice to create quite a dynamic, perhaps borderline ethereal image. The sky tonight doesn't have a lot of cloud in it, but that's okay I think. The scene still looks beautiful to my eye. We don't always need clouds in the sky, and the sort of gradation of colours is quite nice tonight as well. I tried briefly a polarizer, but that is not an option in this particular scene. Off to the sky in the right, if you use the polarizer, it made the sky very dark over at that side, even if I only turned the polarizer very, very slightly. So the sky looked very uneven. The sun is setting off to the left, so the sky is naturally brighter to the left, and if you use the polarizer, the sky over to the right looked quite frankly horrible and unbalanced, so the polarizer didn't last long. But that's the history behind this particular image. It's one that I thought had potential many, many months ago, and that's why I've returned tonight in spring, just before golden hour, when I thought it would look its best. As I say, it could look nice in autumn as well. I'll probably return to check that out when the time comes. But I'm going to hang around, just see if the sky gets any colour, but as I say, I suspect I've already captured my favourite image of this evening. But regardless, you'll see my favourite one very shortly. So I hope you've enjoyed this style of video, a little bit of talk about the history of this image and why I'm here tonight. So this is the image that I was able to capture on that particular evening, and while by any stretch of the imagination I don't think it's one of my very best images, I am quite pleased with it. I think it's a nice pleasing image overall. There's quite a few things I like about it really. I like the gradation of colour in the sky, and I like how some of the blue from the sky is reflected in the river itself. I also like the shape of the river as it winds off into the distance, and I like some of the patterns that I've been able to capture in the river by using a 1-second exposure. I also like the tree on the right which leans over the river. So I think it's quite pleasing to the eye overall, and I'm quite happy with it. Now, if you've been listening to me talk in this video earlier on location, you'll realise I spent quite a bit of time and effort planning this particular capture of the image. And because I'd spent so much time and effort, I couldn't help but wonder, would it be worth returning at a time when there was more cloud detail in the sky, just to see if I could improve on this particular image. Now, personally speaking, I don't think you always need cloud detail in the sky in a landscape image. Some people think a sky without cloud is boring, but I think it really depends on the composition, the look of the sky that you've got on that particular day, what you're trying to achieve with your image, which parts of the image you maybe want the viewer to focus on, and many other reasons. But just looking at this actual image when I edited it, and indeed on location, I couldn't help but wonder, would it be improved with some cloud detail in the sky? So I did return 2 days later, and I was able to capture this version of the image. So this is the version of the image that I was able to capture on my second visit, and as you will see, I was very lucky to have some lovely cloud cover in the sky on that particular evening. They have got some really nice patterns to them, and the lines that they're forming work very nicely with the flow of my composition, in my opinion. I returned at pretty much the same time in the evening, and the light was very similar on both visits. But on my second visit, I was able to use the polarizer with no negative effects, so that was really pleasing. It's done a few positive things in my opinion. It's brought out some of the cloud detail in the sky. It's took some of the shine off the river, which has given the river a darker look, and you can't see so much of the blue in the river from the reflection of the sky. And it's also warmed up the foliage. I think everything just looks a little bit warmer through using the polarizer, and I'm really pleased with that. Speaking personally as the person that captured these images, I think my preference is for the one I captured on my second visit. I do think the clouds and the use of the polarizer has improved the image, but that's just my opinion. Everyone's different, and I can equally see why some people would prefer the image I captured on my first visit. So I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts in the comments section. Which of these two images do you prefer? I think it's really very much down to the individual, and it would be great to hear your thoughts. But for now, thank you so much as always for watching, and I'll look forward to seeing you in my next video.